Oh man, guys. Oh man, sometimes guys. Okay, before I start my review, I am aware that during this time where people are a little bit sensitive of an illness that is going around, still, I just want to tell you that, don't panic, guys. Take your precautions, wash your hands very well, and do what you must do. Still follow some of the regulations, but be extra careful. That's all I have to say, just in case, because, well, let's say that I wanted to start out with that because during the past couple of weeks, I went to the movie theaters, and the movie theaters weren't as packed as usual. Well, although yeah, last week I saw Onwards. There weren't so many people, and I also went to the movie of this week, which there wasn't a lot of people. Although the difference is that I went to a movie theater that it's not usually packed, but there were a few people here and there, so it was fine with me. But the funny thing is that more than fear mongering about an illness, there's also this fear mongering of people in which they technically pinpoint a movie based on a trailer, in which it kind of feels like it's gonna have some kind of political repercussion or a political satire, and they brand it as a kind of like a dangerous film, especially when it's kind of has this high level of violence in which there is this fear mongering that is gonna influence other people to do, well, crazy stuff. So this is the reason why that movie, which was supposed to come out last year, it was well, delayed until further notice. But now we finally got it. And that movie is none other than The Hunt, the latest film from Blumhouse Studios. And man, what is wrong with Blumhouse? Blumhouse basically is kind of shoehorning in a lot of those social political agendas into those movies. At least a couple of movies that I just seen. I mean, Black Christmas was too extremist for my liking, and of course we got Fantasy Island, which it wasn't exactly pretty good. Although now we got this one, which apparently from the trailer, it feels like it's gonna take a jab to liberals, and they're gonna have this the most dangerous game style of movie, in which people capture other people. They think they're elites, and so much elite that they're just gonna hunt them down for fun and all this stuff. But you know what? Here's the thing. I'm not exactly affected by these kind of movies. Sometimes they're kind of like popcorn flicks that maybe I can be enjoyed in one way or another. I do have a little bit of a guilty pleasure at least on the second and the third Purge movies. Also, I see if you want to talk international, there's also films like Battle Royale. And yeah, those movies are hardcore violent, and sometimes they want to shoehorn in some kind of political message, but they kind of do it as a satire. Because if I want to go a little bit preachy, is that when you make art is basically kind of like a form of expression in which that expression, it can be handled in any variety. It could be if you want to express yourself about your politic views, your artistic views, and it could be fair game. And this is kind of like the double-sided sword of doing something, how can I say, of doing art in which, well, not everyone will agree with it, so I'm always neutral on that kind of thing. Man, but so anyway, this is but still there is this ultimate weapon that a lot of that it's been done since ancient times, of course, in which when you want to make kind of like a jab as politics and current generations, there is something called sarcasm, satire. Satire. The satire is technically kind of like the most off-color weapon that you can use on your art medium to take a jab to politics. Sometimes it can be very direct, sometimes it can be subtle. There's many types of satires. So yeah. I know, man, I've been winding out this whole speech when I'm supposed to be talking about The Hunt. But, well, you got the idea why exactly this movie is kind of making people worried. In which, yeah, if I want to tell you the whole summary about the movie, is about this group of liberal social justice warriors in which they think that they think they're high and mighty. They think that they're just doing the world a favor. So they pick up these other piece of people. Some are conservatives, some are douchebags. Technically all douchebag, and basically they hunt them down. Of course, they give them weapons to try to defend themselves. So the funny thing is that it kind of starts out like this typical thing. It even kind of introduces us to what's supposed to be our main characters. Maybe I kind of spoil it a little bit. So anyway, yes, I'm gonna spoil some parts of the movie. So I hope you understand. But right now, I suggest you to watch the movie. Watch the movie if you can. If you can. I'm not gonna rush you in. But watch the movie because there are some things that I do want to talk about this film. But man, okay, here it goes. The movie kind of makes an excellent job that probably in the first 5 or 10 minutes. We thought the camera kind of showcased which are probably going to have our main characters. I mean, they focus on this blonde girl who, they start out with everyone gag and then they find a weapon and all this stuff. And guess what? That initial group of characters, they get killed. Yeah, so the movie's over? No. Because little did they know is that these group of rich liberal people, they brought in the wrong person. And that wrong person is gonna be their downfall. And from this point, if you're kind of tolerant to all the liberal / conservative jazz that this movie has, all the anti-SJW things that they have, all this scumbaggery that this movie exaggerates in many ways, this movie is a blast. God, man, it's been a while in which I could be having so much fun with this movie, but at the same time feel guilty about it. Man. Oh yeah, this movie bloody. It has a lot of action. It keeps you on the edge of your seat. And some jokes kind of work, sometimes it's not, but let me tell you guys, whenever you're offended on these kind of movies, or whether you try to take it seriously, or whether you are on the neutral party on these ones, because I'm mostly in the neutral party. Oh man, this is something that you should watch in order to believe it. Okay, I'm not obligating you, but I guarantee you that you're gonna pick up something hilarious of this movie. So yeah, it's a dark comedy, and you're gonna get entertained during these an hour and 30 minutes. I think the movie is the running time of this movie. Okay, cinematographically, I'll say that this movie is well shot, I'll say. The action scenes are clear. There is not an ounce of, of really superimposed tight editing. So you can understand, the cinematography that it is. As simplistic as it is, and you can tell that the budget is technically on the middle side. It is very bloody. I understand if people have some kind of stomach into it. I mean, my God, it really starts out with a bloodbath. And yeah, like many of those movies, a lot of the characters are really, really, really exaggerated. And guess what? It's not on one side. This movie kind of takes a jab on both sides. The people who are antagonists and the people who are the victims, I'll say. Um, for for example, we got for the antagonist. The antagonists are this group of people. Are this group of people that you kind of notice that they're the elite smug assholes who they're very rich. They think that they know better. They think that they are smart enough that they're the most pretentious people you could ever think of, and they're caricaturized in one way or another. And they captured these group of people who they have kind of like absolutely no. Let's say that they have absolutely no distinction between them. So they don't technically go for their age, gender, or ethnicity. It is later revealed that they just pick up because, well, they are basically kind of like these conservative people who they shout, they go against them, and, well, they technically got a grudge and think that, well, we're gonna kill off these conservatives because we're doing the planet a favor. Even though you can show that what they do, they are not exactly better. Oh yeah, and this group of people, it is all led by Hilary Swank. Hilary Swank is this character named Athena. Man that again, she is the queen of pretentiousness in this movie. Not the actress. I'm talking about the character, because Hilary Swank does a great job. And when they finally revealed, her motive to do all this is totally ridiculous. It's totally ridiculous, but you get it. That's the satire that this movie has. And like I said, the movie also is a little bit clever on showing that the other side, the victims, are basically not better too. I mean, some of them are so stupid or so impulsive on their emotions, and they also kind of begin to think that they're doing the right thing. And one of those characters is actually kind of like a podcaster. And it shows that he just kind of like, well, I know the right, I'm gonna showcase and expose everyone, but I'm not gonna exactly reveal what happened, but it shows the moment in which it shows that he's no better than the stupid liberals, in which he's just kind of like hot-headed and they're as selfish as it is. And some others kind of like, they decide to sell their souls because they're kind of lazy or redneck, or they have the stereotyping of the rednecks and all this stuff. So that begs the question: if all these two sides are assholes, who you're gonna root for? Well, 10 minutes after 10 minutes from the movie, we got our hero at least. And that hero is none other than Betty Gilpin. Betty Gilpin, she shows up and becomes the main character. Let me tell you, Betty Gilpin, you redeemed yourself from that shitty Grudge movie. Because she was not only the best character in the movie, but she was also badass and a great actress. If there's one thing that this movie holds off, it's her. She was amazing. Her acting was great. She was a total badass in which she sticks to what she believed too, but also takes a little bit of a neutral side in which she just go along with the flow of the things that are happening. She's most of the time one step ahead on a lot of the things that happen. There's a little bit of a backstory to her, but a little bit of the backstory it kind of felt like they don't need to. Although this movie finds itself finding like an excuse because, well, the best way I can say is that B movies are just there for the sake of kind of being entertained. But going back to Betty Gilpin, who plays a character named Crystal. She shows up. She managed to handle on her own. She knows. You see that she's intelligent. She's you know that she can be kind of like this southern character with a little bit of a redneckish personality in her. She trash talks a lot. She is pretty much an edgelord to many things. But it shows some clear indication, of course, that she is basically the smartest character there is. And what I like about her is that this character usually doesn't show off as being, you know, trying to be like, I'm the hero because I'm gonna protect you, everyone, and and she just, well, you know, you get the idea. You get the idea. She is kind of like a character that you kind of root for, especially considering that both sides of the coin are really, really, you know, cuckoo. She may also have her political stance views, but she really knows how to defend herself, and that's honestly, that's good enough for me. You know, guys, I've been watching a little bit of the IMDb page, and you won't believe what I'm seeing. One of the characters, who is named Don, who is played by Wayne Duvall, they credit him on the IMDb page as John? But the funniest thing is that the character played by Ethan Suplee, who is the podcaster in the movie, he's credited as "Shut the f*** up, Gary." No, I'm serious. This is kind of like the weirdest IMDb page I have seen yet for the moment. Alright, so some highlights about this movie, I'll say. Yeah, I'm also gonna say that it's maybe can be a little bit pretentious on the message, well, the quote-unquote message that it wanted to bring out. For example, one of the biggest things that this movie has, or at least in a few scenes, is that they wanted to make an allegory to George Orwell's Animal Farm. A book that I did read, I enjoy, I understand some of the political views. And yeah, they mentioned this book. They kind of bring out a little bit of a good point, I'll say. Although they wanted to show it in your face because, well, there's a pig there. And yes, the pig is kind of shows up a little bit of the kind of like the theme of the movie, in which, well, I'm not gonna go into detail. I highly suggest you to read or watch the animated film of Animal Farm if you want to get the idea. But one of the biggest highlights that I have about this movie, in which I think that for me is probably the best part of, well, not exactly the best part of the movie, but pretty much the moment that kind of impacted me a little bit on the movie is what I will consider the quote-unquote Oscar moment for Betty Gilpin, in which in which this is when she shows off how this character really is and how she performs about her character, and of course the actress way of acting for this movie, and yeah, she brilliantly does it. And what I mean is the moment where she begins to tell the story of the tortoise and the hare. She calls it the jackrabbit and the box turtle. And the way she says it is really cold and kind of like on the nose. And she begins to tell this story, you know, that the jackrabbit was kind of like an elite. He thinks that he's better than anyone. Then comes the turtle, and well, they challenge itself into a race. But the jackrabbit, as smug as he is, he decides to take a nap. But then, of course, the rabbit oversleeps, and and of course, when he finds out that the turtle won, he lost the race. And then she acts kind of like the story in which it says that the turtle tells his grandsons by saying that well, I just kept moving forward after this. But then she adds a little bit of kind of like a morbid, extended edition of the tale, in which she begins to say that the jackrabbit, with his ego down the dumps, he shows up at the door with a hammer and kills off the turtle's grandchildren, and of course the jackrabbit technically killed. I don't remember exactly. I don't know if it was the jackrabbit that killed off I think they kind of. I don't remember exactly what it is. If people seen it, can you correct me with how it ended? But it ended up with either the jackrabbit or the turtle or both having a dinner, eating dinner or something like that. But in context, I kind of like the allegory that it goes, and I think it encapsulates perfect a little bit what the movie is trying to do. It's kind of saying that people are technically neither the jackrabbit nor the tortoise. They all try to, to find out who is the best on each other, who has the highest moral compass, but then, of course, if one wins, the other gets a grudge on the other one, and they try to outsmart each other. And that's basically my over-analyzing way to do it. Don't take me seriously. Don't worry about the sirens. Yeah, this movie kind of touched things upon it. And when you notice kind of like the super social justice liberal things, you kind of notice that these are the kind of guys who and the way they're taught, they're really in a way cringy, but you just brush it up as kind of funny. Like, for example, one guy is like, global warming is real. Or someone saying that, hey, that's cultural appropriation because you're wearing a kimono or something like that. Things like that, I understand that it could cringe a lot of people. But yeah, that's the point of the movie. By the way, it's time for me to talk to you a little bit of spoilers, because it is time for me to talk about spoiler alert. Well, here's the thing. The thing is that all this shit happened because the character Hilary Swank, apparently she was tweeting or instant messaging on something, and then she kind of say that, I live in, we should, I do manhunt for fun and all this stuff. But of course, people took it seriously, and her reputation went down. And it was like, it was all a joke! So basically, yeah, it comes then kind of like a running gag in which people begin to, demonize her and saying that, oh, you live in this mansion. It's not a mansion, it's a house with 3 floors and something like that. And yeah, but it's a beautiful house. And so yeah, these rich hypocrites who they think that they're better than others. And yeah, the main character, she calls her out on that, in which it's kind of like, you know, that sometimes when you, it is said, I'm not gonna exactly say what reveal exactly, you know, the ending, but but the villain is kind of like the perfect proof that sometimes we are, when we let ourselves fall into what people says, we ourselves are, we are our own victims to become monsters ourselves. That's the best I could say. You know what? I'm not gonna exactly spoil all of the movie. You just have to deal with it. There we go. So, The Hunt. I think it was fun. I didn't take it 100% seriously. If you talk to me, if you hear me kind of like ramble about the politics or what the movie was trying to say, I was just kind of overanalyzing. And you know what? Overanalyzing a movie is technically great. You don't have to take it 100% seriously. And I know it's just a bloody B movie that, well, we just decided to have some fun with that. So yeah, this is just a vlog. Nothing. There's nothing. I'm not taking sides on anything. So anyway, that's The Hunt.